Hi, everybody. Um, if you are comfortable, I would love for you to turn your cameras on. I'd like to see faces. I understand why we stay muted unless we're speaking, but I definitely love to see faces. I love to see who I'm talking, who I'm talking with, who I'm having a conversation with. But I also, even though we can't be in the room, we can still gauge a lot by expressions, body language, things like that. So if you're comfortable, I have mine on, and you guys can probably see there's lots of glowing things around here. And I tried to get away from that, but according to Mariah, I just glow. So I'm just going to take that as a compliment. And question for you all. Has everyone had a chance to read this libretto? It's like about 10 minutes. Has everyone read through it? Oh, well, we're going to have fun then.
You guys didn't do your homework.
Well, Mariah asked that I send it sooner, but I also hope that we would be able to do a cold read. So we don't have to be actors. I see. So I'm wondering what your name is. It says Kent Cultural Alliance, but what is your name?
Sorry, it's John.
Hi, John. I thought I heard that earlier, but I had forgotten. So thank you. Yeah, your expressions are hilarious already.
I'm sorry, it's the work Zoom. I can't.
No, we're good.
We're
good. I like Zoom over Teams, so we're good.
Okay.
So I asked that because I would love to do a cold read of this, so that those who have read it will hear what it sounds like out loud. Those who have not read it will be hearing it for the first time. And all we need there's 3 characters, so to speak. There's woman 1, woman 2, and then there's someone who I guess kind of narrates. There's really no stage directions, but you'd be doing all of that. So do we have any volunteers for woman 1 and woman 2? And also for someone doing the narrating.
I'm happy to.
Okay, I was hoping you'd say that. So John will be our narrator.
I gotta pull it up.
Lillian, Patricia,
Jerry, Beth.
I can read one.
I can share my screen so that everyone can see what they're looking at.
I'm gonna try and pull it up on my phone here.
Oh yeah, no, I'll make it easier for you than that.
Bigger glasses for that.
okay. So Lillian, are you going to be woman 1?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. And who has decided to be woman 2?
I will do it if no one else will, but I feel as though it's not really my, I should let other people do it.
This is Pat. I'll do it. I'll be woman 2.
Thank you,
Okay.
Pat. You're a good sport.
Sure, I'm woman 2.
All right.
So they're I guess just to give you guys where it says like it's just what it is. 2 strangers meet waiting at an elevator. There's an awkward, silent attraction. That's all that it is. I'm going to be quiet. This was actually episode 2 in a 7-part opera, and I wrote the second part. So when you guys are comfortable, I'm gonna go ahead and mute, and I'm ready when you are. Maybe John, you could read, I guess, that top part again.
Okay. 2 strangers meet, waiting in an elevator. There's an awkward, silent attraction.
I hate this elevator.
I hate this building, but it's all I can afford right now.
Me too. What floor?
7.
7? I'm on 7. You must be new.
Yeah, gotta love moving day, right?
Yep, gotta love it.
There are awkward smiles.
Let me warn you, these elevators are weird. Like, obviously, there are 2, but this is the one that goes to 7.
Okay. So I can't use the other. That's not so weird. Could prove inconvenient, but not weird.
No, let me finish. It's weird, like haunted or something. Like you press 7, you just press 7, but the elevator does what it wants. Eventually, you get to 7, though.
What do you mean does what it wants? And eventually you get to 7.
It's going to take us past 7, all the way to the top at 13. Stops and opens at every other floor, like someone is getting on. Nobody ever really gets on, though. Then the same thing happens at 11, 9.
Wait, you mean we're going to go past our floor and stop at every floor just to get to our floor?
I said every other floor, and ride with everyone who gets on.
You just said nobody ever really gets on.
The elevator arrives. Doors open. Both women step aside. The doors close. Woman 1 looks at woman 2 and grins.
You'll see what I mean. Press 7. Welcome to the neighborhood.
The elevator moves past floors through 2 through 6. It dings at 7 but doesn't open. Woman 2 begins pressing 7 hard. Each dings, but it doesn't open.
Already tried that. Doesn't work. Call cancel doesn't work either. I've just learned to live with it. You'll learn to live with it too. They won't hurt you. I think they just want to be heard. Someone to listen.
What are you talking about? Who are they?
Elevator stops. Doors open slowly. Doors close slowly.
13. Here we go.
The elevator lights black out. A dim light is cast on woman 1, as she seems to become someone else. The else's speak poetically.
Is this me? Sorry.
It is.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Hours of infomercial streaming, late night and Saturday and Sunday mornings. 2.2 million spent on a 30-second Super Bowl ad. 111.9 million watched. Yet no one sees what's happening to me. The smartest phones don't capture the frame of my struggle. Pixelating, discussing my identity. 13 degrees last night, wind chill 3, coldest of the season. Code blue issued. My refrigerator box and I made the 4, 5, 6, and 7 o'clock news. We went viral. But by 10, they were bored. On the next breaking story. A happy heart feature. The anchorman found about puppies. Everyone loves puppies. Put designer coats on their puppies, but look away from my cardboard sign. Ad by day, pillow by night. It's hard to Sharpie over life's good. It's reached 59 today. Fox News set up at my home. A tripod's stakes puncture my bed. The groundhog made predictions of an early spring. Soccer moms armed.
Sorry.
With cappuccinos and juice boxes. Take leave from bold and beautiful labor, unleashing their puppies. Let me piss on my cardboard sign. A hostile takeover of my park bench. Puppies and kids chasing back black and white balls. When I chase blanket pages of New York Times.
Elevator lights up as it moves past floor 12. Woman 1 instantly returns herself to normal. Woman 2 is in disbelief.
You play too much. I don't know what you're doing, but this is not funny. I mean, it is funny, but not ha-ha funny. Cute trick, though. You should save that for April Fools or Halloween.
Woman 1 is silent. The elevator stops. Doors open and close, and the lights black out again. Dim light shines on Woman 1. Woman 1 is a mother grieving, inarguable content.
Because I can, badge in hand. This ain't your land blue. Stepping on my shoes, ego bruised. Something to prove black. Stand your ground right. Bitter, tobacco stained, cotton white. The why and the who. Don't give me back you. Black lives, profitable in sorry. Thank you. Disposable matter. Bended knees, bare hands, cradling ashes with soil, like the first time I held you. Peace it gives, no funeral, no memorial, in Mama's garden, your Black Lives Matter. Oh, yeah.
Elevator lights up as it moves past floor 10. Woman 1 instantly returns to her normal self. Woman 2 is in tears.
Stop it. Just stop it. You're not funny. You're mean. You're cruel. You're sick. You're...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not doing anything. I warned you about the elevator. I warned you.
You did not warn me about this.
It'll be okay. I told you they won't harm you. They just want to be heard. That's all. Now you're going to have to be tougher than that if you're going to live here.
Woman 1 gives Woman 2 a little hug.
We've got one more floor to go. Just gotta get past 9.
And what happens at 9? Somebody with 9 lives jumps on, and I got to deal with 9 people coming out of you? I just want to get to my 7.
No, silly. There's no 9 people. 9 is almost like looking in a mirror. It's seeing yourself. And 7 is God's number for perfection, for completion, for rest and restoration. You will get to 7, but you must go through 9 first.
Woman 1 and Woman 2 are silent. The elevator stops at 9. Doors open and close. Lights black out. Dim light shines on Woman 2. Woman 2 is a genderqueer person. I am me.
She, her, he, him, they, them. I got to choose a pronoun now. What's up with that? I got to choose because you're confused? How I'm not. And ain't nobody got time for that. I just want to go to the bathroom, people. I am me, that's my pronoun. Me. I am me.
Woman 1 and Woman 2 are silent. Lights up as the elevator moves past 8. They look at one another through tears and smiles. There's a sense of relief about their initial awkward attraction. The elevator stops at 7. The doors open. Hand in hand, they step out of the elevator. Blackout.
Nice. Thank you,
Wow.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I should give you all Oscars and Tonys and all of that. Actually, so now that you've read it and heard it, I'm all yours. What questions do you have for me? Keep in mind that if you ask me a question, I may ask you a question back in my answer. I kind of call these candid conversations. So I want us to be as honest and as blunt as people can be. I don't want you to look for politically correct. I don't want you to try to be an ally. I want you to be yourself. And if you're uncomfortable with the content, I want you to try to get comfortable with being uncomfortable so that we can have this conversation. Yes, John.
If I may, first question, can you set the context? So you said this is an opera.
Mhm.
So is it actually sung?
It is, and that's why it's so short.
Wow.
That's why it's so short. So it actually, so when I said earlier that I wrote episode 7, it was a challenge that was put out there, and there were 7 episodes being done, all around 2 women at an elevator, and that's all you got. So each person wrote their own thing. You never saw what the other person did. Each person wrote their own thing of simply that 2 women at an elevator, and you do whatever you want. So the lovely thing is it featured, I guess it would be 2 years ago in April, this Library of Philadelphia hosted each episode one at a time. So it was once a month.
Oh,
And
wow.
then at the end of the season, like I think it was September of 2019, the Fringe Arts Festival. So they thought so highly of the episodes that they saw that during the Fringe Arts Festival, you for 3 days you got to come and see like all the art that was done, the music, the everything. But instead of just people standing there singing it in a library, they had like a theater, whole stage, costumes, everything. And you got to see all 7 episodes with no break. So these 2 women were the same 2 women throughout the entire thing, just different things were going on. Does that help?
And all episodes were sung?
Yes, it was one full opera, yes.
Wow.
Okay.
And so when I was asked to write a libretto, I'm like, okay, let me Google this thing. And I was like, oh, okay. Libretto, Italian for small book. That was them saying, hey, keep it small, because when it's sung, it's going to be 20 to 25 minutes. So that is what this little thing that you guys read, when it's sung operatically, it turns into 20, 25 minutes.
Wow.
So I'm curious about the music. Was there a wide variety of music with each of the scenes? I mean, did some people do more operatic or classic opera, and other people do jazz, and other people do rock, or what? I'm curious.
Well, the same way that it's the same 2 women doing whatever the writers wrote,
Okay.
it's those same 2 women. Each writer had their own composer.
Okay.
So whatever was happening in my scene, my composer wrote for that. Whatever was happening in the other 6 scenes, 6 other composers wrote for that. So these 2 women were going in and out of whatever was written. So yes, it was interesting to watch them switch up and do it, because the only time I saw all 7 episodes together was when I came to Philadelphia for the Fringe Festival. And so, yeah, the music was changing and the voices were incredible. They were able to move along, even though 6 composers had written this just for 2 women.
That's amazing. Is it recorded anywhere that we can watch?
Well, it was supposed to be recorded. I don't know, because what's kind of disheartening is when we got the recording, we only got the sound. We didn't get what was happening in the theater. And so I don't even know what happened with that. There were like a lot of apologies and things like that. But thank you, Mariah, because I will be checking.
I would love to see it if it's
Yeah.
available anywhere.
It was incredible. Like someone wrote like an out of space, like out of the world scene, and it was just very interesting. Again, no one knew what the other wrote, so you weren't playing off of anything. It was one continuous story, but just like everybody, it's amazing what you can do when you put two people, two strangers, two women at an elevator, what people can come up with.
And I missed the beginning, but were the composers assigned to you or did you find your own composer?
No, they were assigned. So once the writer agreed to do it, then you get an email saying this is your composer.
So two strangers were writing about two strangers in an elevator.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. And my composer, we've actually stayed in touch. And he's Michael Shingo Crawford. He is doing phenomenal things. And we actually we did a submission last year for the Curtis Institute. It wasn't selected, but I just thought, wow, that's pretty awesome that he thought my work was that amazing that he wanted to enter something with me.
That's cool.
That's
Yep.
good.
So I'm curious if Traci, if I'm going to let my implicit bias go to work here.
Well,
So
I have
first
all
of
the
all,
notes. Go ahead.
I'm going to go there. Why not? Right? You said we
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
I'm assuming the two women are Black.
Okay.
So that was an assumption that I made.
Okay.
And probably because of the, I'm guessing my understanding of the implication of the text, particularly when woman two becomes the other person.
Okay.
So sort of reading into that. And then, so I'm wondering if that assumption that I have made, of course, is whether or not that is correct. Was there a specific thing that drove you? I'm assuming these were not cast before you wrote them.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know my composer. I didn't know who the women were.
So if my implicit bias is correct, which I doubt it is now, was there a specific thing that drove you to write for Black characters versus a white character, and then vice versa, or not vice versa, but in addition to that, writing for a gay character rather than a straight character? Because I also implicitly biased assume they are two gay women, two lesbians.
Yes. Only, okay, so let's see, how do I answer this?
Sorry.
Neither of the singers, they were, let's say they weren't Black.
Okay.
From my understanding, they were both white identifying women
Okay.
who were just took on this project. And they were able to adapt, like I said, with everything. Now, in my particular thing, you see the four, I think we address homelessness first, and
Yep.
then we address Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
And then, what do we do?
Then the pronouns.
And then the pronouns, right? And then, so when they initially meet at the elevator, you had a couple things right. They were two women. They were both lesbians.
Okay.
Only one woman two wasn't comfortable with herself. And so when they had that silent, awkward attraction, inside she was questioning, like, why is there an attraction? Where woman one was quite comfortable with who she was. And so that's why she told woman two, you've got to get through this one before you can move forward. Now, I can send, I'll give it to Mariah to send to you guys. Each of these was a poem I had done somewhere else. They had no connection at all.
Oh, wow.
So the homeless person was actually a white man in my head when I wrote him up.
Yep.
But yeah, none of these poems had anything to do with the other. This is just how I put it together. The Black Lives Matter, a mom mourning her son, and she was actually burying like his ashes in her garden. So that's why it wasn't Black Lives Matter, it was your Black matter, you know, the physical.
Oh,
And then something else you'd add. Oh, let me address the identity, the colors of the women, the races or ethnicity. So that's what I said. I'll send to Mariah so that you guys can have this later. But it actually, and this is being developed into a full all-out play, but that actually came from a poem that I wrote a long time ago, and it's called Breaking Rules. And
okay.
it's two women who meet in a Philadelphia library, which I didn't even know was going to happen.
Wow.
But it's like a Black woman stocking the shelves, the bookshelves, and a white woman walks in, and the white woman starts flirting with the Black person.
Oh my gosh.
And so you guys are the first ones to hear about this. It's being turned into an all-out play with this here as well, because in breaking rules, they're breaking everything. So they've got the Black-white dynamic. They have the class dynamic because the Black person is from like the north, the bottom of Philadelphia. There's a section called the bottom. And then the white woman is, you know, very well educated, comes from this, and this. So we've got the class, we've got Black, white, we've got same-sex love, which you're not supposed to have. And they're actually celebrating, I think, like their 50th anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
So all of it's gonna come together.
Do they also make a lot of noise in the library?
No, it's real subtle. It is really true flirtation. Like the white woman it's hot. It's summer and it's hot. The library has no air conditioning. So there's these huge industrial fans blowing. Well, the white woman comes in and she's got this thin white cotton top on with no bra. So you can see everything. So I have no idea how I started writing these things. People kind of like try to put me in a box. They see the skin I'm wrapped in, they see my hair, they find out I'm from Baltimore, well, raised here, and they assume that I'm gonna be writing like all this Black or woman stuff. But I write about everything that I care about. I care about people. So though I will say Black Lives Matter, and I truly believe that, I believe all human life matters. And I'm not in a place where I can separate the two. And so like I told Mariah earlier, you know, when she asked how I was doing, and I was like, I'm feeling a little fatigue, racial battle fatigue. I'm really worn down with everything that's been going on. And then what's got me lately is seeing people who look to be Black attacking Asians.
Yeah.
And so we've got the George Floyd trial going on. We've got all this racial unrest around Black lives. With everything so horrible that's happened with Black people, how do you put yourself in a position to attack an Asian? For what? You know what I mean? So there's just so much. And in my theater class at Smith, which was a class I was just thrown into, it was writing for the theater. And all I had ever written before were stories and plays. Well, let me say this, stories, poems, everything else. And I turned in a paper for an academic class, and my teacher, my professor, decided not to grade it. And he said he wanted to talk to me. And his thing to me was, if he graded it, it wouldn't be a good grade for me because it wasn't an academically sound paper, even though it had all the research in it. It was too creative. So I would have, failed on that. So he told me to go talk to someone in the theater, and I didn't know why. When I get to the theater, they talk about bringing this paper to the stage.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, I think, oh my gosh, like you said, but I think I'm going to be at a podium reading my paper.
Oh,
That's what I thought. And no, they were talking about making it active instead of narrative. So I do all this research. I don't just like fly by night write something. Things do come to me, but on serious things, and especially like college papers and stuff, I'll probably never be able to write the academic paper. But I do all the research, and that's how I deliver it. And that's how I ended up writing plays. And it was a sink or swim class because the professor didn't give any directions. And I was in there with mostly grad students, which I didn't know. And so I was also the only Black student. Where Mariah and I we went to Smith College. It's a predominantly white institute.
Yeah.
So I was the only Black student in there. And I knew I knew how I felt about things, but I didn't think my audience would receive me. So I would write about things I knew nothing about. I wrote about imaginary friends. Like I wrote about an imaginary friend named If. And they couldn't figure out that it was an imaginary friend. And so for the first 3 scripts I turned in, I was bombing. And I start crying, and I went to the office and he told me, just be yourself in this class. Like write what you want to write, not what you think we want to hear or what we'll accept. And I cried over my first script, but I gave them who I am. And then I started soaring. And it's been an amazing ride. It is an amazing ride. Because like I said, I write about everything I care about. And even though someone doesn't identify the way I identify, I can still feel whatever they're going through to a degree. And I start writing their story. It comes like as a movie clip. And when that movie clip is done, then I put that clip on paper and then I continue it. And the characters tell me what to do.
And now you all know why I said Traci is an artist.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys gave me this time. I really am, because I was bursting at the seams. No one knows that this is about to go into a full all-out thing. And I'm doing it again with E&A Ensemble in Philadelphia.
Oh, good.
Will this be something we'll be able to see later on?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll definitely have to let us know when and where and how.
Yeah.
And maybe you can bring it to Chestertown.
That is the goal. That's the goal, to do something local. You know, it's one thing to be well known in New England, which Lynn Berkman has made that happen. So pretty well known in New England, pretty well known on the West Coast. I would like to do something at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been struggling with being grateful. You know, when you have an open opportunity to shadow at Warner Brothers, you should be grateful instead of like, oh, why isn't this happening here? So I'm struggling with being grateful.
So I know we're starting to get towards the end of our time here, but I was, when you wrote to me about what you wanted to kind of talk about, and you said you had this libretto, you said that you said reading and writing diversity, which we've sort of talked about tonight in indirect ways, but I wonder what you would like to say about that kind of directly.
Okay, thank you. So you guys saw the multitude of characters. John was trying to put them together, and I appreciate his work. There's so much talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity. And I think it's really hard to do any of those if you don't care. It's one thing to throw a brown person, on a flyer and say, hey, we're diverse. Or throw somebody, say like in a rainbow jacket, and say, look, we're diverse. If you don't care about that person and what that person has to deal with coming to your campus or your employment or wherever, you're not diverse, you're just checking off boxes. And I think to read diversity, to read diversely, somewhere along the line, like I would hope if you guys have time and if, maybe if it piques your interest, that you'll go back and read this to yourselves. Because now that you know so much background, you'll start getting it a little more, and especially with what's going on in our country and also globally, I think that may help you, help us, help everyone understand better. Because again, it's one thing to just mark it off on a box. If you don't care, you can't include people that you really don't want there. You're just tolerating them. And you're certainly not going to have, it's not going to be equal. It's not going to be equitable. You're just tolerating them until 5:45 if you really don't want to deal with them. I'm not saying that we're all going to like love and meet in a circle. But one of the things that I love about my work, about my art, and also about the work that I do at CCBC is that I try to teach different groups how to respect one another. Because it has to start there. We have a lot of professors that, they have this like safe ally, safe zone thing on their doors. And that's only because they went through some training, but they really don't have the heart to be an ally. So Traci comes on the scene and says, let's reevaluate the safe zone. Let's discuss what it means to have a safe zone. Because if I can't come to you, even though you know nothing about what I'm coming to you about, truly, you just went through a box and you don't really care, how are you going to help me? So my writing is diverse. I write diversely. I try to merge all conversations, even political ones. I wrote a play right after the first Trump election, 2016, America Make Your Election Sure. It was hilarious. We had Rick James in it, everything. Like karaoke, but it was making a statement. So there's a sequel coming up to that one, where America, who was a woman, was not really happy. She thought what she wanted was that. But this one, it's not really politics. It addresses domestic violence. And then also all the things that you all just read about, they will weave in and out of it. But it's mostly about thinking the grass is greener. And it's a piece on domestic violence. So did I answer that question, Mariah?
Yeah, of course you did. I think you talked about reading and writing diversity in an authentic way and not
And living it too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, we're already 3 minutes over our 5:45 stop time. And I always like to try to stop soon enough that when next week comes, people want to come back. So
I want to come back. So I'll be watching the website to see what's happening next. Is that okay?
Well, yes, please. Of course. Next week we have Kyle Hackett, who is an artist from right here in Kent County, but who is now a professor at Where is it? Is it James Madison?
It's American.
American.
No, I think he's moved. I think
Oh, really?
he's in Harrisonburg now. Yeah, I just talked to him.
Oh, that's great.
He's from Stillcon, Mariah. I
Yes.
knew him as a kid.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
he
I like
as wonderful
I'll
as a
be
kid as
there.
he is? Good. Yeah, he's fantastic, and he's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
So please come back for that. And we have other wonderful things coming up after that. And so, yes, Traci, you are welcome anytime at all. And
I'm gonna be following to see what you all are doing. I like this.
good. I'm so
I like that
glad.
we had a small, intimate group. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Traci.
So,
Thank you, Tracy. It was amazing to meet you. Thanks. Sorry.
Kat, your
Yeah.
reading was really
Okay.
nice. I was wondering if it was gonna throw you, but you handled it.
Very well.
yeah, I want to
It
thank
was
John and
it was a great experience.
I want to thank John and Pat and Lillian, who all jumped in and read beautifully with no advance warning and were willing to take that risk, which I really appreciate. So we always like to end with a toast. So I think thinking about what we talked about and hearing what Traci said, I think that what I would like to toast to tonight is caring with your heart.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much.
Here's to
And,
recognizing everyone as human, fully
Yeah,
human.
amen.
there you go.
Fully human. Thank you so much, Traci.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thanks,
you all.
Mariah.
I'll be seeing you.
Thank you for coming.
I'll keep you guys up to date on what I'm doing.
Please do.
Yes.
All right.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.